If you run a high ticket info product or service based business and you're struggling to scale your sales team, this video is going to break down some of the key lessons we've learned when scaling sales teams past a couple hundred grand a month with paid advertising exclusively. Oftentimes, and a lot of the things you'll see in this video address the transition from organic to paid advertising while maintaining a high quality of sales rep and sales performance. So this video is going to be broken down into 4 parts. We have why your sales team is important. We have common problems with most sales teams. We have what to fix with your sales teams to address those problems, and then how to actually approach scaling in terms of some of the basics, when knowing when to hire, knowing what ramping will look like, and knowing when to scale your ad spend. Now, before I get into any of that, it's important for you to think of your business like a car. And your car has 3 components, and forgive my lack of artistry, whatever you want to call it. You have your engine, you have your gasoline, and you have your chassis, your infrastructure, your tires, whatever you want to call it, right? Each one of these can be broken down to a different part of your business. You have your engine, which in this case is your sales team. You have your gas, which is your marketing, and you have your infrastructure, which is your operations and your tech stack, all that fun stuff on the back end. Now, I want you to compare both a Ferrari and a Toyota Camry, or your basic commuter car that's like a couple $1,000s. What is the number one difference between those 2 vehicles? Again, you've got a V4, small little tiny engine. You got a V12, big bad Ferrari. You've got better gas in the Ferrari. You've got worse gas in the Toyota. You got a better chassis, more aerodynamic build on the Ferrari. The Toyota is more, ergodynamic. I think that's the word. Either way, what's more important? Is it the engine? Is it the gas? Or is it the chassis and the wheels? It is always the engine. It is always the engine. And as a marketer who has helped scale multiple business past that couple hundred grand a month mark, as much as I want to say that the marketing is the number one lever, oftentimes it is not. Your marketing allows you to reach scale. Your marketing will aid in the sales process. But ultimately, if you have a bad sales process or a bad engine, you will never be able to scale your business effectively. It's one of the most important things. Inside of our own agency, after making this mistake way too many times to count, if you have a bad sales team, we will not work with you. We will either place it ourselves and handle it ourselves, or we will not work with you. Why? Because I can put the same gas into a Toyota as I can a Ferrari, and the Ferrari will still beat the Toyota. I can put the same body style and the same gas on a Toyota, your high octane, and your Ferrari body and your Ferrari chassis and your Ferrari wheels and tires and all that. But if the engines are different, the actual Ferrari will always be faster. That is the key here. And this leads me to arguably one of the most important points to this whole thing. Your sales team has a direct impact on your campaign's ROAS. If you don't have a setter, you are missing out on ROAS. If you have bad closers, you are missing out on ROAS. If your salespeople are not hard workers, meaning they don't hustle, they don't do outbound dialing in their free time, they suck ass at follow-up, dealing with that a little bit myself right now, your ROAS will drop. Sales teams have a direct impact on your return on ad spend. And when we model these out for some of our clients, you can see this. If you add a setting team, there's typically a 0.5 bump in your ROAS because you're hitting leads that weren't hit before. You're able to book more calls and just force qualifications on the ones that weren't qualified. Right? Your sales team is your boots on the ground infantry. It is the most important part to the entire business. And again, as much as I love to say it's your advertising and your marketing and your organic presence, if you have a bad sales team, you are losing money. Because the other thing that's important to note with a good sales team is having a good sales team allows you to go from organic to paid. If I have a horrible sales team and I try to transition from organic to paid, it becomes very apparent that they were just collecting cash and not using any sales ability. Because on paid ads, they won't be able to convert. And I've had accounts audited by multiple marketers and multiple sales teams. And every single time, damn near every single time, the fact that a campaign is not performing largely has to do with the return on ad spend. As long as the marketing is figured out. Or as long as the marketing is figured out, it has to do with a poor sales team. It's one of the most important things. And that kind of bridges me to my first common problem, is the transition from organic to paid typically draws out some of the biggest problems in the sales team. You immediately see if you have good closers, you see if you have bad closers, you see if your setters work hard, right? One of the most interesting things I've learned from consuming some of Matt Ryder's content is if you look at setter activity, it's typically pretty shit on some of these remote teams. A lot of these offers in general. And it's a glaring indication that you have a bad sales team that has been trained on organic, so that when you go to scale into paid, you're just losing money. It's one of the biggest problems, right? Remote sales teams are inherently lazy. You need to understand that when you go to hire and train. I recommend all offer owners to have their finger on the pulse with not only marketing, but sales, right? If you run an organic business and you're doing 50 grand a month, that's great. But if you have no idea what your salespeople are saying on the phone, that is a huge liability. And it also translates, because if you're being lazy, so is your remote sales team. You dictate the entirety of the organization. As much as I want to say your salespeople will do it by themselves, most salespeople are divas. Most salespeople are overly emotional. Most salespeople will tell you that the leads are bad even when they are good. Oftentimes, as a marketer, what you can do is you can just tell them you change something. And so the leads should be coming in a lot better. And if you change nothing, those leads will be better to your sales team, right? It's very important to note that in general, the performance of your business often translates to the performance of your sales team. And so if your sales team takes a shit in terms of morale, your business is going to take a shit in terms of performance. If your sales rep is having marital issues, your business is going to take a shit as a byproduct. That's actually a pretty good drawing. It's going to take a shit as a byproduct, right? Your sales team directly impacts the performance of your campaigns and your ROAS. This is why we do not bring on offers that have bad sales teams that will not let us hire out and fire their entire team. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I've made this mistake way too many times. And so this leads me into the 3 key things that we want to make sure that all sales teams are doing in order to run effectively and efficiently. And the number one aspect that you'll see me talk about all the time in this channel is data. You need to be tracking all of the data on your sales team. What is your ROAS per rep? What is your collected dollars per booked call per rep? Right? I don't necessarily give 2 fucks about the close rate and the show rate. All I need to know is if I give this rep 10 calls, is he going to make more money than the rest of the reps? And you only figure this out through data. So making sure that you have proper data for each individual rep, as well as rep by funnel, is some of the most important things. Because, for example, some reps may crush it with webinars and suck with regular call funnel. Some reps may suck with the call funnel or suck with the webinar and crush with the call funnel. You need to understand, because this also dictates how you prioritize which reps to put where, right? Do I put Johnny at 1, 2, or 3? You know, that's up for you to figure out based on rep performance. Now, the second thing that's extremely important to understand is the framing prior. So one of the things that's not talked about enough is the way that a call comes in, right? If I'm running to a setter calendar and I'm saying this is an implementation call, well, then it's going to be very, very different than if I push them direct to book on a calendar, right? Hey, this is a call about the product that we're offering, right? It's a very different conversation. Same thing with webinar. If I'm booking to a free coaching call or a free strategy session, the framing changes, right? You can't just go in and pitch them right away, because they're going to go, oh, you fucking scumbags, you tried to pitch me. You know, you have to understand the framing prior to the call. And the last thing that you need to understand is you need to be able to train your reps effectively. And so especially when you get into some of these higher ticket offers, let's say 10K, 20K, 30K, you really need to train them up on not only the offer, but also the sales process, right? A good sales process and a good salesperson, they can sell anything. But when you get into these higher ticket price points, like real high ticket, like 20, 30, 40K price points, if your salespeople do not understand the product that they are selling, they will not sell it. They won't. They won't. And if they don't have the sales ability, if they're used to selling 2, 3, 4K things, sometimes it goes back to the mentality. Right? Sometimes they have a limiting belief that won't let them sell. And so you need to understand both the framing of the call, and you need to master the training. when actually training your sales team. And here's the one tip that you can use to avoid having to spend too much time looking at data and firing, understanding framing, and training. Is if you understand how to hire and recruit good sales reps, everything changes. Everything changes in your business. And one of the key things that we recommend anybody do, and is why we have all of our offer owners or sales managers actually know how to sell themselves, is they need to role play on the call. Right? If you can role play with a rep and a rep actually knows what they're doing, awesome. They're worth the hire. If they cannot role play with you, do not hire these people. They're going to scam you. Any 18-year-old telling you that they've sold high ticket probably fucking sucks. If you can't tell, this is a big pain point for me. You need to role play with your reps. It's like the most important thing to all this. And if you hire a bad rep, you need to know when to fire. This is one of the harder things for newer business owners, but understanding when to fire is one of the most important things. Because sometimes they'll train fast, but you're better off hiring somebody that's just got the experience that will learn a lot faster. Sometimes they just suck and they can role play great, but when they get on the phone, they freeze up. Fire them, right? Now there is a period that I'll get into a minute here with scaling and ramping reps where you need to understand the balance. But in general, it usually is very apparent when you need to fire somebody. Which leads me to the last part of this entire video, scaling. Scaling with a sales team is extremely important. And scaling with a sales team can go one of two ways. You can either increase spend and hire more reps in accordance, or you increase spend, you hire more reps, then you wait. Then you increase spend, then you hire more reps, then you wait. And what happens is you get these stall points, right? Because as soon as I'm like, cool, let's increase spend, we now have to maintain our level of spend until our next round of hiring. And then we can increase spend again, and then we have to maintain until our next round of hiring. And so it's this step-by-step process that you want to avoid. And so the way that we do this is we understand the math. How many, let's say we get 100 leads that come into the CRM, we have 10 booked calls, right? Whatever that is. We need 1 rep per 10 booked calls. Again, this is not good math, but just to simplify it. That means for every 100 leads, we get 10 calls, we need 1 rep. Which means if we want to take 30 calls, we need 3 reps, which means we need 300 leads, which means I need to increase ad spend by 300%. I think that math is right. 300% or 200%, whatever it is. Right? And so now I know, okay, cool. Every time I go to increase spend, I can expect 30 calls or 10 calls, which means I need 1 extra rep. And I can now pace out when I'm hiring, right? I know if I say, okay, look, sales manager, I'm going to increase spend this week. Are we good to hire? Yes, we're good to hire. Boom. Now you do them both in tandem. And so what I can do is I can pace it out like, cool, we good to hire? Yeah, we can hire. Boom. And so you want to pace it out. Now, the important thing to note with this is going back to the beginning of this video, right? Your salespeople affect your return on ad spend. This is extremely important to understand if you are scaling extremely aggressively, because as I hire, I cannot expect my reps to be performing at KPI right away. Again, they're brand new to the business. They don't know the offer. They don't know how to sell this type of way. Let's say they're going B2C to B2B, right? There's a learning curve involved with this. And so you need to then understand that when I hire, my ROAS may stall out, right? Or it may dip. That's a bad example. It may dip. Right, and then come back up, and then dip, and then come back up. And so you need to know that if I'm holding at a 5 and I'm hiring new reps and I go to a 3, to not panic. Because it has nothing to do with the marketing. It has everything to do with the fact that your sales reps are still being trained. Right? And so as long as I understand that, I can continue to scale and my net profit will grow. Right? Because would I rather have a business that has a 10x ROAS that makes 10 grand, or a business that has a 2x ROAS that makes me 60? Net profit above all else. As long as my net profit is increasing and there is an expected drop in your ROAS, continue to scale. And the last thing I'll say with reps in general is oftentimes salespeople they can be divas. They can be horrible. They can really tank the performance of a business. But if you are on top of training and you maintain a high degree of discipline, a strong sales team isn't the most complicated thing in the world to do. It really comes down to inputs and actions. And the biggest lever, in all honesty, is your ability to hire. And so if you can understand these key things with your sales team, especially in these high ticket, high sales velocity type environments, if you can understand these three things, you will succeed. Because like we mentioned in the beginning of this video, your business is like a car. And one of my clients is a sales trainer. We use this analogy all the time. Your business is like a car. You can have the best marketing, the best gas. You can have the best and lightest frame and body. You can have the best tires and wheels, the best handling, the best diff, right? The best headlights, the best whatever. You can have the best everything. But if you have a shittier engine, a shittier sales team than your competition, your ROAS is going to tank. You won't outcompete them, and you'll stay stuck where you're at. And so as much as it pains me to say, having a strong sales team is one of the biggest levers that you can pull inside of your business. I encourage you to take what you've learned in this video, apply it to your own high-ticket service-based business, share this with your sales manager, share this with your business partner, throw this in your Slack channel, whatever. But these are some of the biggest key lessons we've learned. If you're looking to learn a little bit more about how we can help you on the sales side and on the marketing side in terms of ramping and scaling your offer into paid ads specifically, there's going to be a little link below this video. You can click that, book a call with us. We can chat a little bit more. You'll speak directly with me, and we can dig into, again, if it makes sense for us to consult, for us to help, or even just maybe you walk away with a free audit of your sales team. We can tell you what to fix. So hope this helps, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I will see you in the next one to hitting that first, second, or third $100,000 a month.